Alright, testing audio and testing movement. Oh. Second. Can you hear me now? Okay, just gonna test the audio for a little bit. Just gonna talk for a little bit, making sure the audio isn't glitching out again, and it seems like we're having some problems. Okay, sounds good for now. Okay then. Alright, let me start this again. Hello everyone, this is Gundam Ace, aka John Hooper, and I'm here with my streaming of Rebellion, Secret Game, second stage. Last time we left off, Yuna and Akira continued traveling by themselves as the other players got picked off one by one off screen. Until eventually they in the meantime, also Akira imparted onto Yuna many of the lessons she would later take to heart into the main story and impart onto the players in the next game. And during their search, Sophia eventually got killed with Ago near her, and after she died, they chased after Ago, who got shot by the Joker player, and in his final moments, he said that he gave Akira and Yuna his PDA and said that they'd been set up by the administrator somehow, but before he could fully explain, he was shot in the head. And then Yuna and Akira ran from Ago's killer and found themselves up in the mountain hut. And there they had a talk and did things that I could not show on YouTube or the stream, so I skipped right past that, and that's where we're going to pick off now. Okay, now then. Why don't we think about what we're going to do from now one more time? Yes, we can't afford to give up here. And so the two of them discussed their opinions. Should they try to find a way to escape on the field somewhere? Was there no other way to remove the collars? Could they make some sort of deal with the administrators? And the last thing they grew cautious of was... Hey, don't you think we should think about Ago's PDA again a little more? When Ago gave his PDA to you, he said it was in exchange for not having a way to clear the game without removing the collars. Sorry, without fulfilling the clear conditions. I feel like we're overlooking something. You're right. Let's try thinking this over from the start. First of all, this PDA's number is the king. Its clear condition is at least 2 players die per day. And its special function is swap multiple PDA's clear conditions within 1 meter of this PDA. And if I remember right, also said that it could not designate itself as a PDA whose condition could be swapped. But he never used that while we were all together as a group of 5, right?
ええ、仲間内でクリア条件を入れ替えたところで何の意味もありませんでしたから。
Right. Because there wasn't any purpose to swapping the clear conditions within our group. That's right. Even if they had swapped someone's clear conditions out, that wouldn't change the overall difficulty of the team completing the game. So up until now, the group had considered them mostly useless. Just then, a thought came to Yuna.
じゃあ、その特殊機能を使うのが仲間内じゃなかったとしたらどう？
Akira, what if we tried using it on someone who wasn't in our team? Who wasn't our comrade?
私たちはセカンドステージに入ってから誰も犠牲にしたくないっていう考えに基づいてずっと行動してきたわ。
Ever since the second stage began, we've constantly been acting under the mindset that we don't want to kill anyone, that we don't want to sacrifice anyone.
だから誰かを殺害対象にしてしまう自分たちのクリア条件を他の誰かと交換しようなんて発想自体がなかった。
That's why we never considered the idea of swapping our own clear conditions, which were designed to kill others, with someone
だ
else's.
けど今なら
But now,
ユナさん、ちょっと待ってください。
hold on a second, Yuna.
でもこのフィールドには僕とユーナさんとジョーカーのプレイヤーしか残っていないんですよ。
Only you, me, and the Joker player are left on the field now, right?
そもそもエーゴさんの PDA はすでに操作不能になっているんです。使うにしたってどうやって？
And Ago's PA is now unusable to begin with. So how would we even use it?
そこよ。
That's the key point.
このフィールドには私とアキラとジョーカーのプレイヤーが残っている。
The ones who remain on the field right now are you, me, and the Joker.
私たちはゲーム初日からジョーカーには何かに化ける機能があるんじゃないかってそう疑っていたはずよ。
Remember how in the first day of the game we suspected that the Joker might have the ability to disguise itself? Sorry, change itself somehow?
そして私はジョーカーのクリア条件を前に見たことがあるわ。ソフィアの PDA を閲覧表示した時にね。
And I saw the Joker's clear condition before too. Back when I accessed Sophia's PDA screen.
そこには確かこう記されていたわ。
If I remember right, it went something like this.
変化したことがある PDA の持ち主全員の死亡って。
Death of the owners of all the PDAs you changed into.
それじゃあジョーカーの PDA には他の PDA に変化できる機能があるってことになりますね。
That would mean the Joker PDA has the ability to change into other PDAs.
ええ、そうよ。
Yes, that's right.
それに死亡したプレイヤーの PDA はあくまで操作不能になっているだけで壊れたわけじゃない。
And dead players' PDAs are only inoperable. They're not broken.
じゃあクリア条件が競合していない PDA を2つ集めることができれば。
And if we can get 2 PDAs whose clear conditions don't conflict with each other.
そう。
Right.
私の記憶に間違いがなければセカンドステージでも競合していない PDA が2つ以上はあったはずよ。
If my memory serves me right, there are more than 2 PDAs in the second stage whose clear conditions didn't conflict with each other.
そしておそらくだけどジョーカーのプレイヤーは操作不能になった PDA をすでに何台か集めている。
And I'm guessing that the Joker player has already gathered a number of currently inoperable PDAs.
どうしてそう思うんですか？
Huh? What makes you think that?
だってそうすれば複数の特殊機能を自由に使えるじゃない。私がジョーカーの PDA を持っていたら絶対そうするわ。
Because that would allow them to use numerous amounts of special functions. That's what I'd definitely do that if I had the Joker.
そしてエーゴはきっとこのことに気づいていたのよ。
I'm sure Ago realized this too.
そうか。だからエーゴさん、この PDA を僕たちに。
I see. So that's why Ago gave this PDA to us. So I'm counting on you, Akira. Put your faith in me one last time, and take this PDA. Eigo's words flash back in their minds. The corners of Yuna's eyes heat up when she imagined what he must have been feeling back then.
あとはジョーカーのプレイヤーをどう捕まえるかだけね。
That leaves the question of how we capture the Joker player.
ええ。でも正直言って厄介な相手です。
Yes, but in all honesty, I think they're a troublesome customer.
姿を隠すのがうまく、狙撃に長けていて、ゲームフィールドのどこにいるかもわからない。
They're good at hiding and expert at sniping, so we don't know where on the game field they are.
僕とユーナさんのどちらかだけでも、ジョーカーの殺害対象になっていれば話は早いんですが。
It would be much faster if either one of us were one of the Joker's targets, but in that case, all they would have to do was wait to lure out the Joker.
でもどうかしら。知らない間に私たちの PDA がコピーされている可能性ってあると思う？
Are you sure about that, though? Isn't there the possibility that he copied our PDAs without us knowing it?
そういえば、僕たちは最初、ずっとジョーカーのプレイヤーを探していたんでしたね。
Now you mention it, in the beginning, we were searching for the Joker player the whole time, right?
ええ、知らない間に特殊機能の対象になっていた可能性がないとは言わないけど、それにかけるのはちょっと怖いわ。
Yes. I won't say there isn't a possibility that we became one of their targets, without us knowing it. But it's a little scary to bet on that possibility.
せめて私の特殊機能の使用回数が残っていればよかったんだけど。
If only I could still use my special function. With Yuna's special function to detect players in 300 meters, she could probably find. She might be able to find the Joker, but she already used it up all 13 times. And so Yuna and Akia kept thinking about how they could possibly lure out the Joker. But time just feebly passed by without them coming up with a strategy.
ユーナさん、この音って。
Yuna, what's that sound?
家からメールだわ。でも一体何が？
It's an email from the administrators. But what's it about?
まさか。
Wait, don't tell me! Getting a bad feeling, Yuna frantically checked her PDA. When she did, she found these
やっ
words.
ぱり。
She found. I knew
どう
it!
したんですか、ユーナさん。
What's wrong, Yuna? The email she got from the administrators. It was the 24-hour notification until the end of the game. If they couldn't figure out a solution and fast, their calls would detonate within 24 hours. Yuna felt shivers down her spine now that they had a set time limit. Day 6. And then, time impartially passed by. Until there was only an hour left until the game ended. The owner of the Joker had been holding still, had been hiding in a spot where he had a view of the mound cabin ever since the night before. And then the change he'd been waiting for occurred.
行きましょう、ユーナさん。
Let's go, Yuna.
ええ、そうね。
Yes, you're right. The two went down the mountain after that little exchange. He smirked, shouldered his L96A1 rifle, and carefully followed after the two, making sure not to make as little noise as possible. 30 minutes later.
ユーナさん、ここまで来て僕たちの前にジョーカーのプレイヤーが現れないということは、
Yuna, the fact that the Joker player hasn't appeared before us yet
お
means
そらく彼はもうクリア条件を満たしてどこか安全な場所に潜んでいるのでしょう。
he's likely already fulfilled his clear condition and is hiding somewhere safe.
でも僕たちにはもはや彼を見つけ出す手段がありません。
We no longer have a way of finding him. And then the boy was holding a tool he'd gotten from a nearly collapsed shed he'd found just now. The girl looked at him with sad eyes.
そう。じゃあその工具で首輪の解体を試そうっていうのね。
I see. So you're saying we should try dismantling our college with that?
はい。一か八か。やってみるしかありません。
Yes. It's all or nothing.
一か八か。ね。
All or nothing, huh?
それって成功する確率はどのくらいなのかしら。
Just how likely do you think our chances are?
わかりません。きっとほとんどゼロに近いと思います。
I don't know. Nearly zero if I had to guess.
この後に及んでもあんたはほんと変わらないのね。いつも正直ね。そして嘘が嫌いね。
You never change, do you? You're always so honest and you hate lies.
でも
But
ごめん、アキラ。
sorry,
あ
Akira.
んたは私にとって間違いなくヒーローだったわ。
You were a hero to me. Make no
で
mistake.
もやっぱり私はあんたみたいに強くない。
But I'm just not strong like you are.
死ぬのが怖くて。もう私は自分を貫けそうにない。
I'm so scared. I don't think I can stick true to my convictions anymore.
そうですか。
I see.
ごめん。本当にごめん。
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
泣かないでください、ユーナさん。
Please don't cry, Yuna.
僕たちは最後にここで正々堂々と戦ったんです。そしてその結果、ユーナさんが生き残った。
We fought fair and square at the very end. As a result, you survived.
そういうことにしておきましょうよ。だからユーナさんが気に病む必要はありません。
Why don't we just sell it as that? That way you won't have to worry about anything.
アキラ。
さあ、もうあまり時間がありません。
Now, there isn't much time.
でも
But
ほら、ユーナさん。ぐずぐずしていると、こちらから切りかかってしまいますよ。
come on, Yuna. If you hesitate for too long, I'll cut you down, you know?
だから、さあ、早く。
So please, hurry.
アキラ、私あなたのことが好きだったわ。
I loved you.
ええ、僕もです。
Yes, me too. Sparks flew from her Beretta The boy was hit in the chest, fell to his knees, and hit the ground. The Joker saw that all from this forest a short distance away. The girl then staggered off somewhere. She walked in a daze as if recovering from the shock of having committed a murder. He smirked again when he saw her like that. He then leveled his rifle, then left the forest to head towards her. And then, past the buildings, the girl sobbed maddeningly. His heart trembled when he heard that. That unprecedented racing of his heart elicited a smile from him. The time had come to fulfill his objective, and in the best possible circumstances at that. Those expectations danced in his heart, swelled in his heart. But before he settled everything, he thought back on how he'd come to participate in this game. He was the son of a powerful man with much economic influence. And his father was a man who had a morbid fondness of watching others bow down to his power. As a result, he, who grew up alongside his father, grew up with abuse towards other people being a daily part of his life. But then one day, just as he begun to start feeling empty from those maddening day-to-day life, he felt admiration for the first time in his life when he witnessed the game that his father took him to watch. There was just something about it that that spoke to his primordial desires. Ever since then, he'd become completely obsessed with the game. But those were also the start of insane days for him. Even when he burned to his eyes the sight of players fighting each other and trampling on each other's lives over and over again, there was still something in him that just wasn't satisfied. But at the end of those days, he finally found a way in order to satisfy his desires. To completely satisfy his desires. That was why he had decided to participate in this game. All in order to fulfill his desires. He silently leveled the rifle. And quietly aimed in order to shoot out Yuna Todo's arm, which held the gun. And then he envisioned the actions he was about to take. No, he should take, and then he slowly brought his finger onto the rifle's trigger. Just then, the rifle was sliced into two by something that swung down him from the side. Parts spilled out from the rifle's exposed workings. And he instinctively looked at it. Just then, something with a cold silver light. Sorry, no, a blade with a cold silver light was pointing to his throat. And when he turned to that person to see what happened,
君は
You're... He looked to find the supposedly dead Akira Makioka holding his sword. Sadness rose to his piercing eyes as Akira looked at the man's face and spoke.
まさかあなたがジョーカーだったとは思いませんでしたよ。
I never would have imagined you were the Joker.
キシンさん。
Kishin. Yuna and Akira had put on an act in order to draw out the Joker player. The reason they decided on that was because no matter how they thought about it, the way Eigo had been killed had been way too unnatural. Why had the Joker let Eigo live for a while when he should have been able to kill him at any time? What did they have to gain from that? There was only one answer they could think of. When Eigo had died, he said they'd been set up by the administrators. According to what Eigo had told them before, this game was a show for people to satisfy their depraved desires. So if the Joker who killed Eigo was associated with the administrators, then and that meant that much like the people watching this game, his goal would be to watch their suffering. Meaning that if either Yuna or Akira died, the Joker would definitely appear before the survivor. Sending them off to sending off that tragic player who had been forced to kill the one they loved. So Yuna had used a blank to set a trap for the Joker. They'll come with the idea to use a blank to set a trap for the Joker. But the one who tripped the trap was...
なんであんたが
Why, you? Yuna, who'd stopped acting and turned around, looked at Kishi and instinctively became speechless. Then Akira, who was holding the sword to his throat, spoke in a bewildered tone.
シンさん、あなたはエイゴさんに撃たれて死んだはずじゃなかったんですか？
Kishin, I thought you died when Eigo shot you.
じゃなかったんだよ、アキラくん。じゃないとここにいるのは幽霊ってことになるでしょ。
Afraid not, Akira. Otherwise, I'd be a ghost, wouldn't I?
どういうことなの
What do you mean?
ネタばらしをすると、俺はあの時、というか、今もだけど、防弾チョッキを着ていたんだ。
Fine, here's a spoiler for you. Back then, no, even now, I was wearing a bulletproof vest.
ほら、おっさんは本気の時には腹を打つってそう言ってただろ。だから大丈夫だって確信があったのさ。
Remember how the old man said he'd shoot the stomach, shoot the torso, when you got serious? That's why I was sure I'd be fine.
まあ、それでも頭を打たれやしないかと、ほんのちょっとヒヤヒヤしたけど。
That said, the thought that he might shoot me in the head instead almost made me shit my pants.
二人ともわけがわからないって顔だね。
Looks like the two of you have no idea what's going on, eh?
大丈夫。ちゃんと説明してあげるから。
Don't worry, I'll explain the whole thing to you.
ゲーム終了まで時間もまだもう少しあるしね。
We do have some time left until the game ends, after all. The Kishin who said that was had a smile completely different from the Kishin Yuna remembered. And so she got only more confused. She looked at Akira to find he was the same.
まず俺はゲーム初日、あの説明会場に行く前に一人のプレイヤーをいきなり襲って捕まえたんだ。
First things first, on the first day of the game, before I went to the briefing, I suddenly attacked a player and restrained them.
彼女のプレイヤーナンバーは7。
Her player number was 7.
彼女の PDA にジョーカーの PDA を初期化する特殊機能を見つけたときは笑ったよ。
When I found out her PDA had a special function of resetting the Joker PDA to its initial settings, I laughed.
だってこれで俺がジョーカーだって暴かれることはなくなったわけだからね。
Because this meant the possibility I'd be outed as the Joker had gone away.
そう。つまり俺はずっとジョーカーの特殊機能を使ってその PDA に偽装していたんだよ。
That's right. In other words, I used the Joker's special function to disguise myself as her PDA the whole time.
そして君たちは誰一人として俺がジョーカーだって見抜けなかった。
And not even one of you ever figured out that I was the Joker.
キシンさん、あなたの目的は一体？
Kishin, what are you after?
まあ待ちなってアキラくん。
Now, hold your horses, Akira.
俺の話は最終的に必ずその話にたどり着く。でも順序立てて説明しないと意味がないんだ。
I'll get to that eventually, don't worry. If I don't explain things in order, it'll get confusing.
さて、それじゃあ話は少し飛んで、今度はゲーム2日目の話をしよう。
Now then, let's move forward a little to the second day of the game.
あの夜みんなが寝静まった後、
After all of you fell asleep,
こっそり山小屋を抜け出した俺は、幸運なことに2人目のプレイヤーを捕まえることに成功したんだ。
I snuck out of the cabin, and fortunately, I was successful in capturing my second player.
そしてついに行動を起こすことにした。
And then I decided to finally act.
ああ、ところで君たちは出血による致死量がどのくらいだか知ってる？
Oh, by the way, do I even know how long it takes to, how much you need to bleed out in order to die of blood loss?
答えは全血液量の約 30%。
The answer is 30% of your whole blood.
人間の血液量は体重の約 8% なんだ。
And humans' blood is approximately 8% of their weight.
ナンバー7の彼女の場合は体重が45キロぐらいだったから約 1100ml だね。
The 7th girl weighed about 45 kilograms, so that'd be about 1100 milliliters.
だから俺は朝方までにそれくらいの血が流れ出るように彼女の腹をナイフで刺したんだ。
So I stabbed her in the stomach so she'd bleed out by morning.
今までも個人的に何度かそういう経験をしたことがあったからそれは別に難しいことじゃなかった。
I've done that sort of thing a number of times up until now, so it wasn't all that hard.
そして捕まえたもう一人の彼をあの山小屋のそばまで引きずっていきそこに彼を拘束した。
Afterwards, I took the other player, tied him up. I took the other player, brought him back to the side of the cabin, and tied him up there.
今にして思うと彼女と彼の役割は逆でも良かったんじゃないかと思うよ。
Now, in hindsight, it would have worked just as fine if I'd switched the two around.
何もわざわざ重い方を運んでいかなくてもよかったのに。まあ、今となってはどうでもいいか。
After all, it would have been easy to that way I wouldn't have had to haul someone so heavy like that. Oh well, you know what they say, hindsight's 2020.
とにかく俺はそうして全ての準備を終えたんだ。
Anyway, and so I'd gotten everything ready by then. Akira and Yuna and Akira just stared on in amazement as Kishin kept talking on and on. He had a gentle face, a gentle demeanor, and a gentle voice. And yet he was so ominous. He was so sinister and made him doubt the person in front of him really was a human. But Kishin paid no heed to their gazes and continued without hesitation.
というわけで次はゲーム3日目の話だ。ここからはおっさんの出番になる。
Which brings us now to the third day of the game. This is where the old man takes center stage.
あそこで重要だったのは俺がいかにしておっさんに撃たれるかっていうことだったんだ。
Hold on a second. The important thing there was to make sure I got shot by the old man.
俺はあの日の朝、みんながまだ寝ている間におっさんを起こして木にくくりつけておいた男のところへ連れて行ったんだ。
That morning, while all of you were still asleep, I woke the old man up and brought him over to the tree where the guy was tied up.
そしておっさんが男の縄を解こうとした隙におっさんを殴って気絶させ、
And when the old man tried to untie the guy, I punched him and knocked him out. I punched the old man and knocked him
そ
out.
の後で男の首を切って殺した。
After that, I slit the guy's throat and killed him.
だってそうすればおっさんが目覚めた後、その犯人が俺だってことが一目瞭然でわかるだろ。
Because that way, the old man would be able to tell as soon as he woke up that I was the one who killed him, right?
そうして男の死がトリガとなり、ゲームはセカンドステージへ移行した。
And thus, with with that guy's death as the trigger, the game moves to the second stage.
あとはメンバーの中でいち早くおっさんに近づきながら隠し持っていた銃をちらつかせるだけでよかった。
All to do after that was be the first one of you guys to approach the old man, and then give him a glimpse of the gun I was hiding.
俺が撃たれた後、君たちはバラバラになり、リーダーだったおっさんを恐れ、混乱から仲間同士で疑心暗鬼になり。
After I got shot, you all split up, became scared of the old man. As a result, started doubting one another from your paranoia, from your confusion paranoia.
もう二度と以前のように5人が集うことはなくなった。
That way, the five of us could no longer be together again.
ちなみに、逃げ出したユーナちゃんを背中から撃ったのは俺さ。
Incidentally, I was one who shot you while you were running.
その後俺が生きていることに気づいたおっさんに危うく撃ち殺されるところだったけど。
After that, the old man realized I was alive and almost managed to shoot me to death.
でもさ、あれのおかげで随分臨場感が増しただろ
う。Hold on a sec. But hey, thanks to that, it just made the whole thing feel more real,
ちなみにナンバー7の女が死ん
But
だ
hey,
のはその後だね。
thanks to that, it just made the whole thing
アキラ君
feel
の特殊能
more
がある
real.
から2人が死ぬ順番には気を使ったよ。
Incidentally, the number 7 girl died after that. Thanks to your special function, Akira, you got the orders of death was mixed up.
あんた黙って聞いてたらベラベラと。
Bastard. Running your mouth off
答えな
like
さい。
this.
あんたの目的は何なのよ。
Start blabbing your mouth off when we're trying to listen. Answer me. What are you after?
やっぱりユーナちゃんはせっかちだよね。
You really are impatient, aren't you, Yuna?
だから俺はさ、このゲームの中で2人がこれまでにさらされてきた理不尽な状況は
Hold on a second.
全部俺のせいだったってそう言いたいのさ。
That's why I want to tell you that all those unjust situations you found yourselves in the game up until now, they were all thanks to me.
君たちが救いたがっていたソフィアちゃんを撃ったのも俺だし、知っての通りおっさんを殺したのも俺だ。
I killed Sophia, the one you wanted to save. And as you know, I killed the old man too.
それに恋にセカンドステージを招いたっていう意味では、他の全プレイヤーの死も俺が元凶と言っていい。
And in a sense, since I'm the one who kicked off the second stage, I guess you could say, I'm responsible for everyone's deaths. For all the other players' deaths.
な
Damn you!
そうか。つまりキシンさんはこのゲームを見ている観客を楽しませるためのゲームマスターのような存在。
I see. So in other words, you're like a game master who's trying to make the game more exciting for the customers watching. For the people watching.
だから英語さんはあなたこそが運営そのものだとそれを僕たちに伝えようとして。
That's why Ego tried to tell us that you were with the administrators.
違うよアキラくん。それは全くの誤解さ。
No, Akira, you've got it all wrong.
俺は別に運営側の人間ってわけじゃない。正真正銘、このゲームのルールに縛られている一人のプレイヤーなんだ。
I'm not affiliated with the administrators or anything like that. I'm a bona fide player bound to the rules just like everyone else.
もっとも観客としてずっとこのゲームを見てきたし、自分を鍛え上げた上での参加だから不公平はあるけどね。
Now that said, I have watched this game as a spectator for a long time. I only participated after I trained myself up, so I guess you could say I had an unfair advantage.
観客として見てきた。
You watched it? Yourself?
じゃあ好きが高じてこのゲームに参加したってわけ？あんた狂ってるわ。
And you participate in this game because you wanted to? You're insane!
そう、俺は狂ってる。人殺しもそれなりに楽しむことができてしまうからね。とても正常とは言えない。
You're right, I am insane. Plus, I enjoy killing too, to a certain extent. You could hardly call me the picture of sanity.
でも人殺しだって別に俺の目的ってわけじゃない。
But killing wasn't really my objective.
俺はさ、ユーナちゃん。
Thing is, Yuna,
このゲームを観客として何度も見ているうちに、ずっと自分の中に潜んでいた欲求の正体に気づいたんだ。
as I watched this game as a spectator over and over again, I came to realize the true nature of the desire that lurked within me.
だから俺は君たちを選んだ。
That's why I chose you guys.
説明会場で君たちの掛け合いを見た時から、ゲームが進めば君たちが惹かれ合うことはもう分かっていたからね。
When I saw the two of you talking at the briefing, I already knew that the two of you would be drawn to each other as the game went on.
さて、残りあと10分だ。
Now then, we only have 10 minutes left.
そろそろこのゲームも終わる。
This game's about to end.
さあ、君たちはどうするんだ？俺は君たちのクリア条件を知っているけど、このままじゃまずいんじゃないのか？
Now then, what are you gonna do? I know your clear conditions, so don't you do something quick or you'll be in danger?
悪いけどあんたの望み通りにはならないわよ。
Hate to break it to you, but things aren't gonna go the way you want.
ええ。僕たちはエーゴさんから PDA を託されました。
Yes. We've received Ago's PDA.
そしてキシンさんのジョーカーの PDA と、それ以外の PDA が2台あれば、僕たちにはクリアの可能性がある。
And with your Joker PDA and 2 other PDAs, we'll be able to win this game together.
うん。アキラくん、正解。
Yep, you're correct,
プ
Akia.
レイヤーナンバー2。クリア条件は、プレイヤーナンバーが2の倍数になっているプレイヤー全員の死亡。
Player number 2's clear condition was all players who have player numbers that are multiples of 2 die.
プレイヤーナンバー8。クリア条件は、自分を除くプレイヤーナンバーが数字のプレイヤー全員の死亡。
Player number 8's clear condition was all players with player numbers that are actual numbers with the exception of yours die.
俺は今言った PDA を2台とも所持している。
I have the 2 PDAs I told you about just now.
だから俺の PDA でおっさんの PDA をコピーし、君たちのクリア条件を今言った2つと入れ替えれば。
So by using my PDA to copy the old man's PDA, you can swap your clear condition out with those two.
君たちは確かにクリアできるだろう。
And that way you would indeed be able to win the game together. Though she sensed something unstable in Kishin's tone, deep down she was relieved. Hold on a second. situation wouldn't have changed now anyway. But the only concern was whether Kishin really did have PDA with compatible clear conditions.
さあ騎士、もうごたくはいいからさっさとあんたの PDA と私たちのクリアに必要な PDA を渡しなさい。
Now then, Kishin, I'm sick of all this chit-chat already. So just hand over your PDA and the PDAs we need to win.
ああ、そうだね。
Yes, that would be best.
でもここまで語った俺がそれを許すわけないだろう。
There's no way in hell I'd let that happen after I told you all this now, would I? Kishin said that and reached his right hand to his chest. He grinned with a maddening light flashing in his eyes. Yuna and Akira moved at almost the exact same time. Kishin fell on the spot, Akira having slashed his right arm, and Yuna having shot him in the left thigh. The knife he tried to take out was lying by his hand.
あんたね、私たちがあんたを傷つけないとでも思ってたの？
Did you think we wouldn't hurt you or something?
キシンさん、無駄な抵抗はやめてください。
Kishin, please stop any futile resistance.
今度余計な真似をすれば、その時は腕を切り落とします。
If you try to pull a stunt like that again, I'll cut off your arm this time.
二人ともすごくいい目をしているね。それは勝利を確信している目だ。
I really like that look in your eyes, you two. Those are the eyes of someone who's sure of victory.
だけど、俺の目的は今この瞬間の先にある。
But what I'm after comes after this moment.
あんた、まだこの後に及んで。
You're still babbling about stuff like that after all this?
だから言ったじゃないか。俺が君たち二人を選んだんだって。
Didn't I tell you? I chose you to. Kishin lifted his still mobile left arm. Warped his index finger into the shape of a gun and pointed at his own temple. But neither Yuna nor Akira could understand what that action meant. Kishin's face then warped with agony
ゆう
as
なちゃん、あきらくん、俺はさ、このゲームの理不尽なところがたまらなく好きなんだ。
You know, I just love how unjust this game is.
このゲームは俺の父に似ているんだ。いや、父なんかよりももっとすごい。
This game is just like my father. No, even more amazing than him.
だから俺の本当の目的は
That's why what I'm really after.
俺自身がこのゲームと同化し、俺自身が理不尽そのものになることだったんだ。
Is to assimilate with this game and become injustice itself. Become injustice itself? Right after Kishin said that, there was a strange noise came from his left sleeve. A moment later, he was clutching a small gun in his hand. If Kishin died, then the Joker would become inoperable from that moment onward. And if that happened, then Yuna and Akira would be doomed to kill one another.
二人ともいい顔だ。
You should see the looks on your faces.
本当は俺自身が死ぬつもりなんてなかったけど。
Truth be told, I had no intention of dying,
でもこれでいい。
but this is nice.
俺という理不尽にさらされた二人の顔をこうして目の前で見ることができたんだから。
After all, I got to see your faces as I made you suffer by the injustice I've become.
そして
And
これでようやく俺の理不尽は完成する。
now my injustice is complete. And then, with an ecstatic look on his face, Kishin pulled the trigger. Kishin's body slowly fell to the ground. Yuna and Akira could do nothing but watch. There was only 5 minutes left in the game. The two of them were the only ones still alive in the game field. Blood and gunpowder spilled from Kishin's head, followed by silence. Yuna was made painfully aware of that reality.
何よこれ。
What the hell? She could hardly believe the voice that came out of her throat was her own. The reality she didn't want to accept sharpened her mind. Their hope had been lost. Something indecipherable. She felt something indecipherable creeping its way through her body. Along with the despair of looking into the abyss. Yuna Todo, player number Ace, clear condition. Kill one player that you travel with for 3 or more hours with your own hands. Akira Mak. Clear condition. All players with player numbers that are not actually numbers die. Yuna looked to Akira, hoping to find some sort of salvation from this despair. All she was greeted with was 2 eyes that shone dimly in the moonlight. Transiently in the moonlight.
ユーナさん、僕たちにはもう時間がわずかしか残されていません。
Yuna, we only have a little bit of time left.
こうなれば正々堂々決闘して生き残る方を決めましょう。
Now let's come to this. Let's fight fair and square to see who lives. Huh?
アキラ、あんた何バカなこと言ってるの？
What nonsense are you spouting, Akira?
冗談じゃないわ。どうして私たちが今さら殺し合わなきゃいけないのよ。
Don't give me that! Why do we have to kill each other now of all
ユ
times?
ーナさん、残念ですが他に方法はありません。
I'm sorry, but there's no other way.
さあ、銃を構えてください。
Now draw your gun.
本気で来なければ殺します。
If you don't take this seriously, I'll kill you! Akira immediately kicked off the ground. Akira came charging dead ahead. His force powerful enough to shake her very skin. If I don't kill him, I'll be killed. But all Yuna thought about then was stopping Akira in his tracks. Jin fired, aiming for his legs. However, if she hadn't jumped back when she did, that slice would have taken off her hand. Yuna's spine trembled from the sharpness of that slash. But Yuna didn't give her time to breathe. Sorry, Akira didn't give her time to breathe. The sword swung over and over again as it reflected the moonlight. It moved smoothly, yet without losing a single bit of power. Every time a gale from the blade struck her body, Yuna fell under the illusion that she herself had been slashed there. And as she kept dodging Akira's slashes at the last moment, Yuna recalled the day she spent with Akira up until now. Yuna finally lost her balance and fell to the ground. Akira then thrust his sword. He was aiming for her neck. His thrust filled with an intense intent to kill. It was like a totally different person from the Akira Yuna knew. With her, though she couldn't see with her eyes closed, Yuna heard someone falling onto the ground. She also felt the sensation of the trigger pass through her finger. Huh?
嘘。なんで
No. Why?
キラ。どうしてこんなこと
You idiot! Why did you do that?
あんたなら簡単に避けられたはずなのに
You should have easily been able to dodge that!
すみませんユーナさん。こうする以外に他に方法が思いつかなくて。
I'm sorry, Yuna. I couldn't think of any other way.
だってユーナさんはこうでもしないと。
Because if I didn't do this,
ユーナさんは優しすぎますから。
because you wouldn't have done this if I hadn't done that. Because you're too kind.
優しい
Kind?
何言ってるのよ私のどこが優しいって言うのよ
What are you talking about? What part of me is even nice?
私はこのゲームが始まってからずっと怖がっていただけじゃない
I've just been scared the whole time since this game began, haven't I?
死にたくないでも人殺しにもなりたくないってそればっかりで
All I did was think about how I didn't want to die, but how I didn't want to become a murderer either.
なのにそんな私が優しいだなんてそんなことあるわけないじゃない
There's no way in hell I could be nice.
いいえ。誰が何と言おうとユーナさんは優しいです。
No. No matter what you say, You're nice.
だってユーナさんはなんだかんだ言いながら初対面の僕にいろいろ教えてくれたじゃないですか。
Because despite everything you said, you've taught me a whole lot of things since we first met, haven't you?
怖がりなのにおせっかいで疑り深いのに曲がったことは嫌いで
Even though you were scared, you were a busybody. And even though you were very doubtful, you were very straight-laced.
それに他人を傷つけたくないって思うことが弱さなわけないじゃないですか。
And not wanting to hurt people is not a weakness.
ユーナさん、それはやっぱり優しさです。
See, Yuna? That's what we call kindness.
そしてそんなユーナさんが一緒にいたから僕はきっとここまでやってこれたんです。
I'm sure it's because you're like that I managed to make it this far.
だから僕はそんなユーナさんが好きになりました。
That's why I fell in love with you.
だからユーナさんに生き残ってほしかった。
That's why I wanted you to live.
あんたどんだけ甘いのよ。
You idiot! Just how naive are you?
ねえユーナさん、約束してください。
Hey, Yuna, promise me something, please.
このゲームが終わったらこのゲームのことはすべて忘れて平穏な日常の中を生きるって。
Once this game's over, you'll forget everything about this game and live a peaceful life.
生きて帰ることができなかったソフィアさんやエーゴさんやそれに他のプレイヤーの皆さんの代わりに。
Live on. For everyone who failed to make it back alive. Sophia, Ego, and the other players.
やめて。できないわよ、そんなこと。
Stop it! I can't do that!
いいえユーナさんならきっと大丈夫です。
No. Knowing you, I'm sure you'll be fine.
だから
So... The light rapidly began fading from Akira's eyes. The life was fading from his body.
待って、アキラ、死なないで。
Wait! Don't die, Akira!
私、もらえないわよ、あんたの命なんて。
I can't take your life!
それに、今の約束だってきっと守れない。
I'm sure I won't be able to keep that promise.
だから、お願いだから死なないでよ。
So please, don't die!
私の命を、あんたにあげたっていいから。
I'll give my life to you! Akira gave a faint, troubled smile. And with that smile as his last expression, Akira quietly closed his eyes. And thus the first game Yuna participated in ended. After that, she tried to live a peaceful life, just as Akira had told her. She went to school, made friends, joked around with them after class. And though she wouldn't call it a hobby, she started learning how to bake. But even when she was trying to live carefreely, memories of the game would flash through her mind. Even when she was eating outside, even when she was shopping in the city, even when she was talking about something even when she was just chatting for new friends, she would come to think about how that game was still going on somewhere in the world at that very moment, and despise herself from turning her eyes away from it. In the end, there was no way she could forget it. It was true that much of the injustice that Yuna and Akira had suffered from had come by the hands of Kishin. But Kishin was ultimately nothing more than the embodiment of that of the injustice that defined the game. And Yuna could not forget Akira, who rebelled against that injustice to the very end. And so, in order to rebel against injustice, and to save those who were suffering from injustice, Yuna broke her promise with Akira and went into battle once again. Now that she'd broken her promise, her mind was set. She swore she wouldn't waste the life that Akira had given her. That even if she ended up dying, she would definitely pass that life on to the next people. But was that choice really correct? She still hadn't found the answer to that. Eventually, though, consciousness was hazy. You could hear the screams of her comrades fighting for dear life. In that moment, Yuna's mind, which had been fallen into a long sleep in that frozen time, began to wake up. If there were people suffering, she wanted to save them. Yuna still loved the boy who had risked his life for that very natural thing. And so she knew what it was she had to do. I swear, you're such a handful. Smoke rose from the muzzle. With a single bullet, Yuna had taken out the attacker who'd been threatening her comrades. She didn't let her guard down as she surveyed the surrounding area. But there were no more enemies to be seen. It seemed she'd taken down the last one. Once she understood that, her whole body went limp. And when she came to, she found herself looking up at the sky, her comrades' faces surrounding her. Are you alright, Yuna? I'll treat your wounds right now. He's right, Yuna. I'm sure we can save you. Shuhei, Kotomi, Tsukasa, Rei, Kurokawa, Hatsune, Mariko. None of them were unharmed, They were all covered in blood, sweat, and dirt. But they were still alive. You could feel Shuhei's warmth as he grasped her hand. That made her so happy that she smiled gently and spoke.
いいのよ。もう十分。
It's okay. That's enough.
私は私なりにやるべきことをやりきったわ。
I did what I was supposed to in my own way.
何を言ってるんですか。だからって死ぬことないじゃないですか。
What are you talking about? That doesn't mean you should die. Yuna's heart stung a little when she saw that coming from the face of the girl who looked so much like Akira. Akira probably knew this would happen. Hold on a second. That was why Akira had told her to change her way of life. But
いいんだってば。これがきっと私の役目だったんだから。
it's okay. I'm sure this was my role.
役目？ここで死ぬのがお前の役目だっていうのか？
Your role? Are you saying dying here was your role?
お前はそれで本当にいいのか？
Are you really alright with that?
まあね。これでようやくアキラに会いに行けるし。
You could say that. Because now I can see Akira again.
それにもし全てをやり直せたとしても、私は多分今回のゲームと同じ行動を取ったと思う。
And even if I could do everything all over again, I'd probably do the same things as I did in this game.
ルールが変わっても、たどる道が変わっても、私の意志は変わらない。
Even if the rules changed, even if the path I took changed, my will not change.
アキラからもらった命を別の誰かに渡す。そのために私はここに来た。
I came here to give the life Akira gave me to someone else.
その結果、死んだとしても、私はそれを受け入れるわ。
So even if I die as a result, I can accept that. Those a year worth of fighting she spent the time until she'd broken her promise with Akira. Was that choice really correct? But that question no longer mattered. Because the words she was saying to Shuhei now was her answer.
ねえ、周平。あんたにこれを託すよ。
Hey Shuhei, I'm giving this to you.
これは
This is... It was the blank Akira had made. The silver bullet that didn't have the power to kill anyone. But...
周平。これは殺さない意志の表れじゃないよ。
Shuhei, this isn't a symbol of not killing.
理不尽に抗い、自分の意志を貫く意志のこもっただが、
This bowl is full of the will to rebel against injustice and to stick to your convictions.
私はそれを貫けて満足だよ。
I'm satisfied I was able to stick to mine.
だから周平、 あんたも理不尽に屈さないで。バカバカしい生き方でもそれを貫いて。
So don't you give in to injustice either, Shuhei. Stick to that conviction, even if it means living a foolish life.
ああ。ああ。
Yeah. Yeah! A thought came to Yuna when she saw Shuhei nod. Now I've told him everything I can. A sense of peace welled in her heart. She no longer minded the pain in her chest. I have no more regrets. Yuna didn't know what path the people who inherited her will would take. But she was fine with that. Because she's sure they wouldn't waste what she'd given them, what Akira had given her. They could all find their own answers.
ねえ、アキラ、
Hey, Akira,
これでよかったんだよね。
this was for the best, right? Yuna said that and gently closed her eyes. Akira was standing there. He had the same gentle smile that Yuna remembered.
ええ、お
Yes,
疲れ様でした。ユーナさん。
you did good, Yuna.
アキラ、嘘。なんで。
Akira? No way! How?
そっか。私。
Oh, I see. So Yuna gave a gentle smile of her own.
ごめん、アキラ。約束破っちゃって。
Sorry, Akira. I broke my promise.
でも、最初に約束を破ったのはアキラの方よ。
You're the first one to break a promise, you know.
そうでしたか？
Huh? Really?
もう、私たちは戦い合わないって約束したじゃない。
Jeez, did you forget? We promised not to fight each other.
ああ、そうでしたね。すみません、ユーナさん。
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry, Yuna.
いいのよ。お互い様だもの。
It's fine. Now we're even.
ねえ、アキラ。私、間違ってたかな。
Hey, Akira. Was I wrong?
アキラの言うことを聞いて、普通の日常を送るべきだったかな。
Should I have done as you said and lived a normal day-to-day life? Akira's eyes darted around a bit as if he didn't know what to say.
僕には何が正しくて、何が間違っているかは、はっきりとはわかりません。
I can't say for sure what's right and what's wrong.
でも僕は、ユーナさんが考えて選んだことなら、それでよかったんだと思います。
But if it's what you decide on, I think that's for the best. Akira looked straight into Yuna's eyes and said that in a clear voice.
そう。私、アキラに少しは近づけたかな。頑張れていたかな。
I see. Do you think I was able to get a little bit closer to you? Did I do my best?
はい。ユーナさんはとても立派でした。胸を張っていいぐらいに。
Yes. You were wonderful, Yuna. I'm proud of you.
そっか。ありがとう。そう言ってもらえると、なんか救われた気がするわ。
I see. Thank you. You know, it means the world to me just hearing that from you.
アキラ。私ね。私。
Okay. You know, Yuna's eyes heat up at that moment. Her emotions were gushing out faster than her words.
ユーナさん。
キラは私に会いたいって思ってた？
Hey, did you miss me?
そうですね。
Huh? Hmm.
会いたいのもそうですが、守りたいって思ってました。
It's true that I missed you, but more than that, I wanted to protect you.
すぐにでもユーナさんのところに駆けつけて、ユーナさんを守りたいって。
I wanted to run to your side as soon as possible and keep you safe.
そう思っていました。
That's how I felt. Akira gave his usual smile.
バカね。ほんとバカなんだから。
You idiot. You really are such an idiot.
ユーナさんは僕に会いたいって思ってましたか？
Did you miss me?
そんなの。
Of course. Yuna hesitated hung her head, and seemed to be hesitating for a
ど
moment.
うしましたユーナさん？
What's wrong, Yuna?
そんなの。思うわけないじゃない。
Of course I didn't. Yuna turned her head away as she said that.
勝手に約束破って勝手に死んじゃって、そんな奴のこと思い出すわけないでしょ。
There's no way in hell I'd remember someone who broke his promise and went off and died on his own.
この1年、アキラのことなんて忘れてたわよ。
I forgot all about you this last year.
そうなんですか？ひどいなあ。
Seriously? That's harsh.
そんなこと言われると悲しくなっちゃいますよ。僕はずっとユーナさんを思っていたのに。
Now that just makes me sad. I thought about you the whole time.
少しも思い出してくれなかったんですか？
You sure you didn't remember me even just a little?
ねえ、そうよ。
Yeah, of course.
本当に？
Really?
そうだって言ってるじゃない。
Didn't I already say that?
本当の本当は
Really, really?
どうなんですか？
Well,
会いたかった。
I missed you.
何ですか？聞こえません。
Huh? What was that? I couldn't hear you.
もうずっと会いたかった。
Jeez, I missed you so much. Of course I missed you. I thought about you every day during that year. About how I missed you. Even though I knew I could never see you again. Even so, I wish that I could. Wish that I could see your smile. Wish I could hear your voice. Wished I could talk to you. That's all I wished for this whole time.
よかった。ユーナさん素直じゃないから。本当に忘れちゃってたのかと思いましたよ。
Oh, thank goodness. You're not the most honest tool in the shed, so I was worried you really did forget about me.
これからはユーナさんのそばにいます。
But now I'll always be with you.
本当にまた嘘じゃないでしょうね。
Really? You're not lying again, are you?
ユーナさんは疑り深いですね。
You're so paranoid.
本当です。僕はずっとユーナさんのそばにいると約束します。今度は決して破りませんから。
I'm serious. I promise that I'll always stay with you now. And I won't break this one.
絶対よ。今度破ったら許さないわよ。
You better mean that, or there's gonna be hell to pay.
はい。さあ、行きましょうか。
Of course. Shall we go then? Yeah. The two held hands and walked into the light.
何かを求め振り返るわ遠い思い出確かに時は過ぎ去っていて目を閉じて浮かぶ面影呼び合って向き合って笑い合ってそう運命が引き裂いた時から二人とも違う明日へとこの手を汚し痛みすら未来へと変えそれが答えと言い聞かせ今ここにいる誰が消えてもまた日は昇るから私は生きる今日君の笑顔も思い出も赤に染めて涙からせたその先で手にしたはずの幸せな春名もなき崩れた影ぽつり夕日に伸びて
Okay, so that was the end of Zeroing Rebel, the PC version exclusive route. And with this, we are now completely done with all the story that Rebellions has to offer. However, there is one last thing that we still need to see. That is a post-game omake bonus thing, much like Killer Queen and Secret Game Killer Queen had at the end, had their post games. This one Rebellions has one too in the PC version. So, are there more people in the title now? Yes, there are. The episode Z cast are on the right side. So anyway, yeah, we still have the post game bonus content to see, which I'll make another stream. It'll probably take about a 2-hour stream or something, I'm guessing. So I'll do that tomorrow. I would normally probably try to fit it in with this stream, but it might run on for too long if I tried that. Of course, I could still keep going if you don't mind, but I just have to shut off the stream a bit for splitting purposes. I'll leave it up to you. Well, it's just a guess, I'm not sure. Alright then, we'll do it tomorrow then. But until next time then, I'll see you all later.